Hi everyone, it's Carissa. Today I wanted to show you the German short row method. Short rows are used to build up fabric in certain areas of a project without building up fabric everywhere. This is useful for things like the heel of a sock, where you need more fabric to go around your heel, but less fabric on your instep. Or it can be used to add height to the front of a sweater for us busty gals. Very useful things, short rows. There are a lot of different methods, but the gist of all of them is that you will work part way across a row, stop, turn, and go back the other direction without having worked all of the stitches in that row. Now, if I were to simply stop and turn around, I would end up with a hole in my fabric where I turned. There are several different methods to deal with this problem, and one of them, my personal favorite, is the German short row method. So first I'm going to start out by simply knitting most of the way across this row. I'm going to knit to the last 6 stitches here. And I'm using a different color just for demonstration purposes so that you can see the short rows really well. Normally you would work short rows in whatever fabric, whatever color that the rest of your project is worked in. So to the last 6 stitches, my first step for a German short row is to simply turn around. So I'm going to turn my work, make sure that our yarn is in the front of our work, and we will slip that first stitch as if to purl. Just slip it from left to right needle. Now I will lift the yarn up and over the right hand needle to the back of the work, and as I pull that yarn up, that stitch that I slipped gets distorted. So you can see both legs of that gray stitch below are stretched out. That's what's called the double stitch in the German short row method. And that is what we want. Now I'm going to knit back across, and I'll switch to English style to show you how to create that double stitch if you hold the yarn in your right hand. Again, I'm going to work to the last 6 stitches. There we go. And now I'm simply going to turn my work around. Make sure that my yarn is still in the front of my work, and I will slip that first stitch from left to right needle as if to purl. Pull up on the yarn and pull it to the back of the work, and you can see that stitch became distorted, so we've got the 2 legs creating the double stitch. And now I will simply knit back across the row until I get back to that first double stitch that I created. And I'll show you how to work that double stitch when you get back to it. And it should be pretty obvious when you get to it. It'll look a little weird. So you can see this double stitch here where we have the 2 legs in the front, 2 legs in the back, and they're connected with a twist on the top of the needle. All I'm going to do to work that stitch is to insert my right hand needle under both of those legs and knit them together as if it were a normal stitch. That's all there is to it. And now I'm going to continue knitting across to the end of the row. And we'll turn back around. I will switch back to continental style knitting, holding the yarn in my left hand, and I'll show you how to work a double stitch continental style. So again, I'm going to just knit across till I get back to that first double stitch. And you should be able to tell which one it is. Normal stitch, oh, there's the weird looking double stitch where we've got 2 legs in the front, 2 legs in the back, connected with a twist on top. So again, I'm just going to insert my right hand needle through under both of those legs, and knit that stitch just as if it were a normal stitch. And we'll continue knitting to the end of the row. So when we look at the right side of our work here, you can see we have more orange fabric in the center of our swatch than on the outsides. We have 2 garter stitch ridges in the middle and only 1 garter stitch ridge on each end. On the back side, you can see the orange and gray dotted line where I changed colors, and we have that is right up next to the needle on both sides, but in the middle we have an extra orange garter stitch ridge. So we've built up more fabric in the middle of our swatch than on the edges. Now I also have a stockinette stitch swatch, so we can look at how to work German short rows on the purl side of the fabric. So again, going to start by simply knitting most of the way across this first row. I'm going to knit the last 6 stitches. And now, again, my first step is to simply turn my work around. Make sure that your yarn is to the front of your work before you slip that first stitch as if to purl. We'll pull the yarn up and over to the back of our work and create that double stitch with the 2 legs in front. But wait, I'm about to purl and my yarn is in the back. Well, that's okay. I can just bring the yarn to the front between the needles and continue purling. And I'm going to purl to the last 6 stitches. And I'm going to show you this English style. So purl 1 more stitch. I'm not very good at purling English style. And now I've got 6 stitches left, so we're going to turn our work around. And our first step is to make sure that our yarn is in the front, but right now it's in the back. So we'll just bring it to the front between the needle tips before we slip that first stitch purlwise. Bring the yarn up and over to the back of our work, creating that double stitch with the 2 legs in front. And now our yarn is in the back, so we are ready to continue knitting across. And we're going to knit back until we get to that first double stitch. 1 more, and there's our double stitch with the 2 legs in front, 2 legs in back, twist on the top. I'm going to insert my needle under both legs and just knit them together as 1 stitch. And I'll continue knitting to the end of the row, and we'll turn around and come back on the purl side. There we go. So we'll turn our work. I'm going to switch back to continental style to show you how to work a double stitch on the purl side continental style. So I will purl across until I get to that double stitch. We should be able to tell which one he is. Oh, there's 1 more normal stitch, and there's my double stitch with 2 legs in front, 2 legs in back, twist on top. And again, I'm just going to work them together, but this time I'm on the purl side, so I will insert my needle under both legs purlwise, and purl them together as one stitch. And then I'll finish purling this row and we can take a look at the fabric. Okay, so on the right side of our stockinette stitch swatch, you can see that I have more orange in the middle than I do on either end. I have 4 rows of orange in the center and only 2 rows of orange on each end. On the back side, there's my orange and gray dotted line where I changed colors. I have 3 purl ridges in the middle and only 1 orange purl ridge on either end. And there we have it, German short rows in stockinette stitch. Now if your pattern has wrap and turn short rows, you can absolutely substitute German short rows. Say the pattern tells you to work to the last 6 stitches, you will go ahead and work to those last 6 stitches, and then you'll work 1 more stitch before you turn around and make your double stitch for your German short row method. So that stitch that would have been wrapped in the wrap and turn method is the stitch that becomes the double stitch in the German short row method. And there we have it. Thank you so much for watching.